the new note explained that the digital currency note has inbuilt enhanced security for robust resistance against counterfeiting and tolerance.
Most importantly, that it has been designed and produced with most advanced security technology in the world.
4 years ago, a new 50 naira note was produced to commemorate the 50th independence anniversary of Nigeria. The Nigerian government says it will step up its funding and support to the anti-corruption and justice sectors as a way of ensuring good governance. Minister of National Planning, Dr. Abubakar Suleiman, stated this in a message to the joint meeting of chief executives of some European Union-funded projects in Nigeria. Femi Okeowo was there.
Support to anti-corruption, justice sector reform, and drug-related organized crime are 3 projects funded by the European Union and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime in Nigeria. While the projects have been running for 2 years now, the EU says that the counterpart support and funding by Nigeria has not been strong.
Progress has been quite slow, but it is linked to budgetary allocations. In governance, the fight against drugs, the fight against corruption are key to the new Nigeria.
A policy dialogue forum between the EU and the chief executives of the government bodies involved in these 3 projects was therefore held in Abuja, coordinated by the National Planning Commission. One of the high points of the meeting was the call for a concerted effort to increase the level of internal funding allocated to institutions with a mandate to fight corruption and ensure accessible justice to all Nigerians. A position which the Minister of National Planning said government was already committed to.
The federal government of Nigeria recognizes the need for an improved good governance and better coordination of the entire justice sector.
The outcome of the meeting of the chief executives would feed into the Nigerian-EU political dialogue on corruption, drug and crime, and justice sector reform. In Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
President Goodluck Jonathan's declaration speech to contest the 2015 presidential election is described to have a clear-cut manifesto for Nigeria and Nigerians. Analysts on NTA program Good Morning Nigeria says the declaration speech remains the best and most focused so far, as reported by Timothy Yusuf.
For the teeming supporters of the ruling People's Democratic Party, the PDP, yesterday was historic because it climaxed the many months of suspense on whether or not President Goodluck Jonathan would heed calls from various interest groups and party supporters to contest the 2015 presidential election. Before a mammoth crowd at the Eagle Square in Abuja, the president formally made his intentions known. Analysts on Good Morning Nigeria say President Goodluck Jonathan has kept faith with the Nigerian project.
There is quite a lot to talk about. We've got a revamping economy, we've got a growing economy, we've got infrastructural development across several sectors that is coming. We've got a lot of strong choices, a lot of investment. There's a lot to talk about. And if we fail to talk about these things, we'll be failing ourselves. I actually do hope that in the build-up to the elections, that Mr. President and all the other political contenders will be more willing to discuss what the issues are. Mr. President has already shown that he's willing to do that. From his speech, he's already shown he's willing to do that, which is the reason why he focused. If you notice, if you read the speech, he doesn't even mention the opposition political party once. He doesn't even mention the opposition once. He speaks directly to ordinary Nigerians like you and I and says, this is it. This is what we've been doing for 3 years. This is what we should do into the future. I believe that the opposition party should take up that gauntlet. They should take up the standard that Mr. President has set, and they should involve themselves more in that sort of debate. It will only be healthy for our democracy.
As far as I'm aware, as far as I can see, he's given all of the time, all of the financial resources, all of the emotional and economic requirements to the armed forces for them to do their jobs.
The president has done his bit. It is very difficult to achieve in a rancorous environment. We have never had this kind of situation before, but we've had something close to it in the Second Republic when we had the Metesine situation. That situation continued up to when General Buhari took over, but it was quelled by the military. It was not of this enormity, but what we have today is that somebody is building, another group is scattering. So it's difficult, but there are more challenges. So in the midst of these challenges, definitely more money will go into security and less money will go into infrastructural development. So considering it from that background, one would say that the president has kept faith with the Nigerian project.
They called on Nigerians to team up with government in the fight against insurgency. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
More than 70% of Nigerians in the United Kingdom have turned out en masse to endorse the re-election of President Goodluck Jonathan for the 2015 general election. From London, correspondent Hawa Yusuf Funtua reports that the event was organized by Pan-African Voice to coincide with the declaration of the president to lead the country for a second term.
It is a safe assumption to make that the re-election of Dr. Goodluck Jonathan as Nigerian president for the second term will be talked about for years to come, and November 11, 2014 will be referred to as a momentous period when the nation came together and collectively decided to stick for his re-election.
The Pan-Nigerian Voice is saying this is the man that the future of Nigeria depends. We have seen a lot of characters come and go, but where has that left Nigeria?
You don't expect a president that has been in post for 4 years to actually satisfy everyone. Nigeria is the largest country in the whole African continent. The population, we are the highest. And you can see where we are today. It is because of President Jonathan's perseverance, the need for him to carry all of us along. He cannot do this job by himself.
The Pan-African Voice, who organized the event, explained that the rationale behind their support for the re-election of President Jonathan is because of his humility, commitment to keep the country together in spite of economic difficulties and the alien insurgency of the group Boko Haram.
And I'm here to fully endorse our brother, our friend, a man of the people, and the man who has the interest of the country at heart, Dr. Ebele Jonathan, as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that he should go back into the office and continue his work. Now, for two main reasons. One, first, he's a very courageous man, and the other, he has a very humane heart.
People go to prison for saying what is right in those previous administration, but it's different now. You can say anything, you can express yourself, whether it is for the government or it's against the government. To me, it's inconsequential, it's insignificant. But for the fact that you can express yourself without having to go to prison, to me, it's a transformation on its own.
Some of them speak on the assessment of the Jonathan's transformation agenda.
So what we want all the citizens of Nigeria to do today is to empower him, follow him, for him to consolidate the progress he has made, not to bring in a new person who has no clue.
Nigeria today is being respected. Well, I live in the United Kingdom, and I know the way the people I work with now talk about Nigeria in comparison to the way it was before. Today we stand sure, and we have hope that the country we were born into by reasons and designs of God is actually giving us the foundation in which we can thrive.
It is very rare to see Nigerians abroad leave their sources of livelihood on a weekday, but for the love of their president, they all came out in their large number to support his declaration. From London, Hawa Yusuf Funtua, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Nigerians in the diaspora are increasingly craving for active participation in the Nigerian polity as its democratic process is waxing stronger on the indices of international democratic scorecards. This was emphasized at the 20 million man support in Spain for the re-election of President Jonathan and Vice President Sambo for the 2015 elections. Hawa Yusufuntua again reports.
Presenting themselves as what can be described as die-hard for Nigeria, the diaspora community in Spain reiterated their position in the quest for active participation in the country's political process, no matter the challenges.
Good handwork is written on a wall. When it's clear, then you tell the person, please, we need you. So I called on my fellow Nigerians here to be supportive as well, because our president has done marvelously well.
It's a passionate appeal, it's a passionate work, it's a passionate dissipation of energy by all of us because of what the president has done, and we are doing that zealously to cover the entire Spain.
They said that they have resolved to rise up to the occasion in deepening this entrenched sustainable path that President Jonathan and his team have laid for the Nigerian generations. Their emphasis also focused on a strong political will, restructuring and re-engineering their objectives for a vibrant and cohesive nation.
I have never seen Nigerians eager, so anxious to see that come 2019, that they will have the right to vote in this country. And Nigerian government should put this in place, do everything possible that Spain, with our large numbers, will make a very great impact towards the political success of our great nation, Nigeria.
We are working hard. We are making sure that we work for the president to make sure that he's re-elected. And mind you, we are not doing this for money. We are not doing this to be paid, but we are doing this because we believe that the president is on the right direction.
Nigeria representatives cutting across 774 local government areas in Nigeria and resident in all the cities of Spain declared their support for the re-election of President Goodluck Jonathan and his vice president in 2015. From Valencia, Spain, Hawa Yusufuntua, NTA News.
Towards the re-election of President Goodluck Jonathan come 2015, the Jonathan Youth Vanguard National Headquarters in Abuja has been commissioned. Timothy Yusuf reports that the Vanguard is the only accredited youth campaign organization committed to the task of sensitizing Nigerian youths to collectively work towards re-electing President Jonathan. The report.
The opening of this corporate headquarters is one in the series of conscious efforts to reposition the Jonathan Youth Vanguard for more efficient engagement with numerous Nigerian youth groups and organizations for easy interaction and sharing of wider enlightenment on the present administration's unprecedented achievements towards a better future for Nigerians.
Mr. President, from this structure here, we will definitely get victory. 2015.
The National Coordinator, Yushau Bagudo, and Director General of the Jonathan Youth Vanguard, Orubebe Ebiz, both believe that the fully equipped office will enhance effective discharge of complex engagements for re-election of President Jonathan come 2015. They also enjoined Nigerians to rise in total support of the effort of the Jonathan administration in order to advance the country beyond the reach. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Edo State Governor Comrade Adams Oshiomhole says no government in the world has all the resources to attain all the development it needs, but with creativity, diligence and judicious management of little resources, a lot could be achieved. The governor stressed this at the 6th anniversary celebration in Benin, the Edo State capital. The ceremony, which had all progressive Congress APC chieftains in attendance, focused on bringing changes to the state and the federation. Comrade Oshiomhole says his core cards include good governance, education and rules, which were not there before. Correspondent Edino Justice, who monitored in Abuja, reports that former head of state General Muhammad Buhari and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar urged the electorate to vote for APC for a true transformation. INEC resident electoral commissioner interacts with traditional rulers in Osogbo. Details with Jennifer in Lagos. Jennifer, it is your turn.
Thank you, Ronke. Good evening and a warm welcome to Lagos. The Lagos State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Dr. Adekunle Ogunmola, has urged all Lagos residents who are yet to receive their voter cards to visit the INEC offices in their respective local governments. Correspondent Abiola Odi reports.
The voters' card collection process, which commenced on Friday, 7th November, has been greeted by various complaints, which include limited allocation centers, lateness of INEC officials to centers, virus on database which has led to disappearance of names, to mention but a few. Some Lagos residents, while narrating their ordeal, called on the government and appropriate bodies to make tangible efforts in making the registration process easier by addressing these problems.
I heard about it that you need to go to where you register to get, but I have not even sent it like sign of giving in my own area.
Which problem we're facing there? Because people leaving their job to the place and most of people there. No, maybe they can even send more people.
Responding to the allegations, the State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Dr. Adekunle Ogunmola, said it's not uncommon to have hitches in any developments.
People have misconstrued our intention. What we said was that we are going to distribute at the polling units for 3 days. When we are not able to successfully start on the first day, we extended it by another day to make 3 whole days.
Dr. Adekunle, however, appealed for the understanding of residents and other stakeholders. In Lagos, Abiola Oni, NTA News.
Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has declared that permanent voter cards will only be distributed in 1.5 political wards out of the 11 wards making up Ijebu-Ode local government in Ogun State. The Commission says this was due to incomplete data capture and loss of documents during the exercise conducted in 2011. Correspondent Yemi Dalemo reports that the stakeholders at the pre-distribution sensitization forum held at Ijebu-Ode local government expressed fear that this might lead to disenfranchisement of the forthcoming general elections.
INEC conducted the stakeholders forum that was witnessed by various political parties, religious and traditional institutions, non-governmental organizations, media, security agencies, and others to intimate them of its preparedness for the last and third phase of the distribution of permanent voters' cards and the continuous voters registration for those who just attained the age of 18. The local government electoral officer, Mr. Samuel Nimem, represented the Ogun State resident electoral officer, said people in Ward 8 and 5 units in Ward 5 within the Ijebu local government will collect their permanent voter cards. According to him, the exercise is taking place in 1 ward and 5 polling units in Ward 5.
In the area where it will not take place, they will do fresh registration. We will go to the various polling units.
Some of the participants at the sensitization program expressed their feeling on the development.
It's not tenable, that's what I'm telling you. Where do they keep that book they used in 2011?
They are now being made to register a second time, and if any lapses should occur, the people will not take it kindly.
We're going to tell our people that they just need to go out and register.
Out of over 3,210 polling units in Ogun State, over 639 polling units are under the category of those whose voters' card would not be collected in the 3 days distribution of permanent voters' card exercise. In Ijebu-Ode, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
Still on INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has solicited support of traditional rulers in the country for the successful conduct of the 2015 general elections. INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in Osun State, Ambassador Rufus Akeju, made the appeal during an interactive session with traditional rulers in Osun State at the Palace of Oni of Ife. Oba Ukwade Shijuade. Correspondent Abolade Salami has more.
The Resident Electoral Commissioner, Ambassador Rufus Akeju, while addressing the Osun State traditional rulers in council, appreciated their roles over the success recorded during previous elections in the state. Akeju said the aim of his visit was to inform the traditional rulers in the state about the activities of the commission, as well as seek their support in impacting positively on their subjects and communities for massive participation in the forthcoming general elections. Ambassador Akeju also informed the traditional rulers about the new card reader introduced by the Commission. He said the Commission, through its chairman, Professor Atairu Jega, introduced the card reader machine to eliminate the buying and selling of voters' card by some politicians.
Card readers is mechanism INEC will put in place in every polling unit throughout the Federation to detect fraud and detect impersonation at the polling units.
In his remarks, Ooni of Ife, Oba Okwade Shijuade Olubuse II assured INEC of the traditional rulers' support towards ensuring the conduct of a peaceful 2015 general elections. He urged INEC to ensure they remain non-partisan in all their activities. From Ile-Ife in Osun State, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
The Nigerian Copyright Commission says the agency will leave no stone unturned until piracy becomes a thing of the past in the country. The Director General of the Commission, Afam Ezekude, who was represented by the Zonal Manager of the agency, disclosed this at a media briefing organized to intimate the public on the illegal activities of unregistered publishers in Lagos.
The anti-piracy raid was carried out by the Lagos Zonal Office of the Nigerian Copyright Commission, following a surveillance mounted by the agency in collaboration with the Nigerian Police and the Nigerian Publishers Association. A total of 5,080 copies of pirated books were seized with an estimated market value of 2,540,000 naira. The Director General of the Nigerian Copyright Commission, who was represented at the briefing by the zonal manager, stated that the commission is set to rid Nigerian bookstores of pirated copies.
The commission has made so much seizures and more efforts are being made to do more with a view to encouraging creativity, with a view to ensuring that the right owners in the industry reap from where they have sown.
He also disclosed that the agency is strongly committed to protect all creative literary works.
The need of collectivism in the fight against piracy cannot just be set aside. It's the duty of everybody, it's the duty of the stakeholders, it's the duty for other law enforcement agencies to come on board to ensure that zero tolerance for piracy indeed is achieved.
It will be recalled that last week, the Commission also seized some pirated books at Ajegunle in Lagos.
And that report ends our contribution from Lagos. Back to you, Ronke, in Abuja, for more on Nationwide News.
Thank you, Jennifer. You're still watching Nationwide. It is now time to pause for some messages. More reports shortly.
I believe in good luck, Jonathan.
The President and Directors of Transformation Ambassadors of Nigeria, on behalf of all Tanites worldwide, wish to most profoundly thank President Jonathan for his transformation agenda that has given us a reason to hope for a better Nigeria. The Vice President, members of the Executive and both Houses of Assembly, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, partnering governors, heads of government agencies, elder statesmen, chiefs, elders, communities, women, youths, political and social groups, journalists, the media, security agencies, our friends and all well-meaning Nigerians for believing and committing to the transformation agenda of President Jonathan. Let's redouble our commitment as President Jonathan continues to transform and rewrite Nigeria's history in the Committee of Nations. Thank you, Nigeria.
He gon' lead Nigeria to the promised land.
This message is brought to you courtesy Transformation Ambassadors of Nigeria. Done for one vision, Nigeria.
General Yakubu Gowon was Nigeria head of state at the age of 32. General Murtala Mohammed became Nigeria's head of state at the age of 38. Olusegun Obasanjo was Nigeria's head of state at the age of 38. Murtala Iyako became the first governor of Niger State at the age of 33. Oko Ebitu Okiwe became the governor of Niger State at the age of 37. Mohammed Malan Awal Ibrahim was elected governor of Niger State under the platform of NPN at the age of 38. David Mark became the governor of Niger State at the age of 36. They served well. Omar Mohamed Nasko was born in 1975. He's 39 years old, loyal, hardworking, resourceful, and he can do it. Support Umar Nasko Movement 2015. This is courtesy Evergreen Mandate Group, EMG.
Transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood.
Change is never easy. It was not easy for Dr. Martin Luther King when Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew transformed Singapore from third world to first world. It was not easy. They stoned him. It was not easy for Nelson Mandela.
I, Barack Hussein Obama.
It was not easy for Barack Obama. Nothing worthwhile ever is. Dr. Martin Luther King did it. Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew did it. Nelson Mandela did it. Barack Obama did it. Goodluck Jonathan is doing it. He is transforming Nigeria. Mr. President, keep doing it. We who are with you are so many more than those who are against you. A message from protectors of Nigerian posterity.
Do you crave class? Do you have taste? And do you care about comforts? If you do, then for your next event, a stay away from home, a business trip, or a holiday, visit Jade's Hotel at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja. Check out our world-class services, exquisite suites, restaurant and bar, gymnasium, spa and grills, and our outdoor catering services and cuisines. At Jade's, it can only be better. For bookings and reservations, visit us today at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja, or visit www.jadeshotels.com. Our email address is info@jadeshotels.com. You can also call us on 09291-9321 or 0810-909-7956. Jade's Hotels. Welcome to life.
The FRCN, NTA and VON annual service of 9 lessons in Christmas carols is here again.
The program, which started over 10 years ago in Abuja as a local carol night, has grown into a national affair.
It's an exhibition of classical and Nigerian Christmas songs and carols,
featuring spirit-lifting renditions and inspiring messages in celebration of the living Christ.
Celebrated groups like the Lars Ekweme Choral Group will be there.
Theme: Celebrating the Prince of Peace.
Venue: National Christian Center, Abuja.
Date: Sunday, 14th December 2014.
Time: 3 p.m.
Message giver: Senior Pastor, Dunamis International Gospel Center, Dr. Paul Enenche.
For sponsorship details, call 0803-303-7678
0803-704-3300
or 0802-722-2869.
Coming live on Radio Nigeria, NTA and Voice of Nigeria, Sunday, December 14, 2014.
The FRCN, NTA and VON annual service of 9 lessons and Christmas carols.
Making Christmas memorable for you.
Thanks for joining us again. Another story is coming from the political scene now that the All Progressive Grand Alliance APGA has rescheduled its primaries ahead of the 2015 general elections. The governorship primaries will now hold on the 8th of December this year. National chairman of the party, Chief Victor Ume, stated this in Abuja. Correspondent Kenneth Nanim reports.
Chief Victor Ume says the primaries was being rescheduled due to some logistic problems. World Congresses now holds on 25th of this month, while the House of Assembly primaries is fixed for 3rd December. House of Representatives primaries holds the next day with the Senate on the 6th. He promised a level playing ground for all aspirants. Meanwhile, Dr. Alex Oti has left PDP to pick the APGA gubernatorial form ahead of Abia State election. He says the decision was born out of strong belief in the party's ideology and manifesto.
I have what it takes to rescue the state and put it back on path of sustainable development.
We can safely say that it's been moved
by compassion to come and rescue his people.
Dr. Alex Oti is now the 4th governorship aspirant to pick ABGA nomination farm. In Abuja, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Meanwhile, politicians have again been reminded of the need for peaceful conduct of their activities for the success of the 2015 polls. This was at the flag-off of a sensitization on civic and voter education organized by the National Orientation Agency in Sokoto. Sheikh Mohammed Dati has that report.
The flag-off of the sensitization program was conducted at Sokoto Central Senatorial District. Declared the occasion open, special guest of honor and secretary to Sokoto State Government, Sahabi Itagada, said despite the challenges faced in the last 15 years of democracy, the country has gone far. Represented by the Permanent Secretary Political, Malamiladan, Sahabi Isagada noted that the state government, in collaboration with relevant stakeholders, has done a lot in enlightening the citizenry on the voter education. State Director, National Orientation Agency, Abubakar Modern Chadi, reminded the electorates that they have a duty to reject false results and say no to violence. NOAA, he said, is fully committed to ensure that candidates and the electorates are sufficiently guided to ensure that they operate within the law.
But the irony of the whole thing is that most of the votes cast by the women are invalid votes. Now the agency is all out to educate them on how to vote properly.
State Commissioner for Women Affairs Kulunu Abubakar said most of invalid votes recorded are credited to women due to lack of awareness. She also noted with dismay the way the 35% affirmative action was not achieved in Nigeria as a result of low participation of women in politics. INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in the state presented a paper on electoral process education. Represented by the Public Relations Officer Muhammad Musa, the Electoral Commissioner noted that new innovations are introduced by INEC to ensure free and fair elections. In Sokoto, Shehu Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
Away from politics now, there are calls for urgent adoption of the Kampala Convention policy for internally displaced persons to address challenges faced by this class of people in Nigeria. This is the stand of discussants on NTA's Current Affairs program, Tuesday Live. Talatu Ezerike reports.
Discussants corroborated tales of pains, fear and psychological trauma faced by internally displaced persons in the Northeast as a result of the insurgency. They therefore stressed that government efforts for a turnaround can be consolidated with the adoption and domestication of the 2009 Kampala Convention policy that will provide the needed instrument and mechanism.
Very soon, that this instrument is domesticated so that everybody is being given a role and that we also have a policy rather than work by way of plan. I like your face, we work. I don't like your face, we are rivals, we don't work.
People just believing that, look, there is a collective vote there, let's advance and pick it. So they are all positioning themselves to do that. So where is the interpersonal relationship that we used to have?
For other speakers, root causes and early warnings of crisis be addressed, as well as strict adherence to openness and sincerity of purpose.
It is becoming very embarrassing that an inch of our nation is being renamed. They need to get back together. The Khan leadership should stop opening his mouth except if he's going to say that he has mobilized the Khan leadership to donate reliefs the way Caritas did during the Civil War. The leadership of JNI and Supreme Council of the Council should also stop propaganda. Those propaganda has permeated into our military.
2,400 students are being transferred from states of Yobe, Adama, and Borno to federal unity colleges in the high-risk areas where studies cannot be guaranteed.
The discussion is on the federal government efforts to fight insurgency and the challenges of internally displaced persons. In Abuja, Talatu Ezerike, NTA News.
Thank you, Talatu. Setting aside personal interest for the greater good and establishment of mutual relations that are based entirely on justice have been advocated as the panacea for achieving peace in the world. Deputy Chief Imam, National Mosque, Abuja, Sheikh Ahmad Onilewura, suggested this while delivering a lecture at the first international lecture organized by Kalimatu Sadat Islamic Foundation held at the National Mosque, Abuja. Abdullahi Musa Suleja completes the story.
Societies in many nations today are being engulfed in crisis-defined attempts to proffer solutions. The theme for the lecture is World Crisis and the Pathway to Peace. The Deputy Chief Imam said individuals and nations need to apply the principle of justice and fair dealings to avoid crisis, a sure pathway to peace. Sheikh Onilewura said Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said nobody or group is superior to other based on ethnicity and complexion.
Peace and justice are inseparable. No one can even claim that in any society, country, even the entire world, that there can be disorder or lack of peace where justice and fair dealings exist.
It's high time we did something. And we can only start through dialogue like this lecture.
In Abuja, Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Board Chairman, Nigeria Railway Corporation tour facilities in Enugu. This and more with Benny in our Enugu Network Center. Benny, it is good to see you.
Thank you, Ronke, and welcome to Enugu. Railway service in the southeast will take off by the end of the year. Chairman, Board of the Nigeria Railway Corporation, Alhaji Bamanga Tuka, made this known in Enugu during a familiarization visit of the Regional District Office. Chimobi Walter Nnaji reports.
Board Chairman Alhaji Bamanga Tuko visited the Southeast Regional District Office on a familiarity tour to ascertain the level of infrastructure on ground following the expectation of the kickoff of train services in the zone. Some of the facilities visited include Bridge 15 Amodu Okonano, the train station, workshop with refurbished coaches, and the staff hospital.
It's a very difficult work. Everybody could see that. The nature has done its own work there. And the human being tried to rehabilitate it. It was done very well and is coming into reality now.
With the effort to put the train back on track in progress, there is the need to retrain the staff and equip them with requisite skills for optimum service delivery.
May I inform you, sir, that work has progressed steadily and hopefully normal passenger train services will soon resume in the district.
A lot of training programs are being developed and we're going to start implementation.
The board chairman was accompanied on the visit by members of the board and top management officials of the corporation. In Enugu, Chimobi Walter Nnaji, NTA News.
As part of measures to ensure a violent-free 2015 general elections, the Abia State Commissioner of Police, Adamu Ibrahim, has organized a sensitization workshop for stakeholders at the Michael Okpara Auditorium, Umuahia. Uche Chukwuonwe has details of that report.
Abia State Governor, who was represented by his deputy Emeka Nanaba, commended the initiative of the Commissioner of Police, noting that government places high priority on the stability and safety of its environment, especially the protection of lives and property due to negative activities of mischief makers.
We are all aware that the struggle for power and political leadership tend to generate enormous tension.
The convener of the workshop and Abia State Commissioner of Police, Adamu Ibrahim, said the workshop is aimed at educating eligible voters on the roles of INEC and the police in electoral procedure.
Whoever tries to violate the law will catch up with him without respect of whoever is involved.
One of the resource persons, Professor Itanebim Alemaka, in his presentation on violent-free elections, described election as one of the credentials of democracy, noting that anointing candidates is not the proper way of a healthy democratic process. Also in a paper on electoral laws and enforcement, Abia State Resident Electoral Commissioner of INEC, Professor Jacob Jatu, said the commission has customized electoral materials to prevent all forms of electoral malpractices. From Umuahia, Uchechukwu Onwe, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the new Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 6, Calabar, Mark Idako, says the police is poised towards ensuring security of lives and property in the zone. He gave the assurance when he paid a courtesy visit to Governor Martin Elechi at Government House, Abakaliki. Chinasa John reports.
New AIG, who said he is in the state to familiarize with men and officers in the zone, commended the state government for always assisting the command and promised to re-strategize to make Ebonyi State crime-free.
One of the purposes of my coming here as well is to assure the people that the police is here for their security.
Responding, Governor Martin Elechi congratulated him on his new appointment and appealed to the force to work assiduously towards reducing political unrest in the country.
The sort of threat to law and order, to peace that we are experiencing now does not give us cheers for the future. And we will only rely on the police force.
The new AIG was accompanied on the visit by the State Commissioner of Police, Megari Diko, among other top-ranking officers in the zone. AIG Mark Idapo took over from AIG Musa Daura. In Abakaliki, Chinaza John, NTA News.
That's a package from this end. There'll be more reports on Nationwide in Abuja. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Benny. The Nigerian Institute of Medical Research is reviewing the performance and challenges of implementing health-related Millennium Development Goals. Rashidat Mustafa Olagunju reports that it was at the Institute's 50th Annual Scientific and Second International Conference in Abuja. The report.
Taking stock of MDG's implementation in Nigeria from the health-related angle, speakers at the conference noted that Nigeria has recorded tremendous success in some of the agenda, but has a lot to do in others. They emphasize the role of medical research in the attainment of the goals, ethical conditions for conducting research in time of epidemic, and adequate funding are some issues raised at the conference.
Research is what gives us the answers for tomorrow, so we can never stop funding research.
Research requires a lot of investment in terms of money, materials, and man. But there is no serious commitment to research in Nigeria.
Dr. Nkiruka Odunuku delivered a lecture on the interplay between non-communicable and infectious diseases, developing countries, challenges, and prospects, while Professor Rob Murphy, a professor of infectious disease from Northwestern University in Chicago, lauded Nigeria's successful fight against Ebola. The Nigerian Institute of Medical Research is the foremost and oldest research organization in Nigeria. Its responsibilities include conducting research into diseases of public health importance and developing structures for the dissemination of research findings. In Abuja, Rashidat Mustafa Olagunju, NTA News.
That event was actually the 5th Annual Scientific and Second International Conference of the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research. The Inspector General of Police, Suleiman Abba, has ordered the Commissioners of Police to commence a nationwide mopping of arms ahead of the 2015 general elections and heightened security challenges in the country. That can heighten security challenges in the country. Bonaventure Nwodo has the details.
Rights book in Abuja in collaboration with DFID, Clean Foundation, Embassy of Switzerland, and Justice for All program.
One of the main issues we'll be discussing is the issue of mopping up of arms, zero tolerance for thugs and thuggery, and many other issues that are important in having a safe conduct of 2015 elections.
The books, according to Inspector General of Police, is also to help police design strategies that need to maintain a delicate balance of law enforcement and respect of people's rights.
Publication is mainly will continue to ensure that the men exercise their powers within the limits of the provisions of the law. Excessive use of powers must be curtailed.
Inspector General of Police has launched the Nigerian Police Force Human Rights Practice Manual and Human Rights Desk Officers Manual of Guidance for implementation across the Federation. The human rights books will form part of books to be used in police training colleges, and every police officer must have a copy to institutionalize the rule of law in the police operations. In Abuja, Bonaventure Mudu, NTA News.
The Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDAN, has signed a memorandum of understanding that will facilitate access by entrepreneurs willing to utilize online platform to transact business. Anthony Fosun reports that the move is to expose beneficiaries to global markets. The report.
Established in 2003 to promote micro, small, and medium enterprises sector.
So, the MOU, which was signed by the various parties, will encourage the development of products that will nurture the sector.
With your support, Nigeria will surmount the problems that have to do with unemployment and poverty within the shortest possible time.
In their separate submissions, representatives of the various interest parties involved in the MOU agreed that the collaboration is the beginning of a new dawn for e-commerce.
With this development, Sweden is poised to facilitate access to this group of entrepreneurs in accessing all that it takes to grow. In Abuja, Anthony Fosun, NTA News.
Our newscaster is now in Jos for more reports on Nationwide. Ruth, it is your turn.
The three-day distribution of permanent voter cards in Plateau State, which ended 3 days ago, was generally peaceful. Correspondent Adamu Haruna Adams reports.
We are having some challenges in our Jos Network Center. Please bear with us. From the global scene now, we have a report that says that Mali records third Ebola case, and United States and Chinese talks yield reduction in carbon emission. This and more on Global Tidbits with Chimdima Ndubisi.
Malian authority has announced the death of a nurse who treated an Ebola patient, making it the third confirmed Ebola case in the country. And car bomb attacks in 2 eastern Libyan cities have left at least 5 persons dead. On the unrest in Ukraine, NATO forces say for the past 2 days it has noticed Russian tanks and troops enter eastern Ukraine, while heavy shelling and fighting have also been reported in Donetsk. In the global financial sector, regulators have fined 5 banks in the United States, United Kingdom and Switzerland £2 billion for attempting to manipulate the foreign exchange market. In another development, the US and China have agreed to cut down greenhouse emissions by 2020 after leaders of the 2 countries held talks on boosting relations. That's Global Tidbits. Chimdima Ndubisi, NTA News.
The problem at the Jos Network Center seems to be over now. We now go back to Ruth for reports from that zone.
Thank you, Ronke. Welcome to Jos. The 3-day distribution of permanent voter cards in Plateau State, which ended 3 days ago, was generally peaceful. Correspondent Adamu Haruna Adams reports.
At all the polling units visited, people were orderly while collecting their permanent voters' cards. The permanent voters' cards at some polling units were collected by owners, while at some units they were just lying on the tables displayed by the distribution officers. As at the time of filing in these reports, over 700 permanent voters' cards were awaiting collection at 028 polling units in Abaneshehu Ward, about 300 cards at 003 Maichibi Street polling unit in Apata Ward, and over 300 cards at Amingo Junction 2, Alikazaure Ward. The reluctance on the part of the people to collect the cards, despite awareness campaigns by INEC and the State Ministry of Information, is linked to the nonchalant attitude of most Nigerians and inadequate attestation forms. However, the head, Voters Education and Publicity Department of INEC in the state, said the 3-day exercise will not be extended.
You have the opportunity of going to meet the electoral officers in their various local government areas to pick their cards. So in fact, the picking of cards is not something that is just ending by this exercise.
In Jos, Adamu Haruna Adams, NTA News.
Love, peace, and good neighborliness are said to be key ingredients needed for Nigeria to overcome its security challenges. Chief Security Officer of late Head of State General Sani Abacha, Major Hamza Al-Mustafa, said this when he commissioned a skills acquisition school for orphans and the less privileged in Plateau State.
That was Major Hamza Al-Mustafa commissioning the new structure of the Orphanage School and Training Center to train orphans and the less privileged in various skills. Major Al-Mustafa, who decried the widening gap between the rich and the poor, said good-spirited Nigerians must take up the responsibility of assisting the less privileged. He, however, promised to collaborate with the Samuel Pukat Foundation through his NGO, the Al-Mustafa Peace, Unity and Development Initiatives.
Brotherhood spirit becomes meaningful if those who have can look at those who do not have. When the old can pull the hands of the young, if this is what Nigeria will take, I tell you, you will not require soldiers to be prepared for the unforeseen of tomorrow.
President of the NGO, Mr. Samuel Pukat, said in the 5 years of its existence, the foundation trained 500 drivers and another 1,700 youths and women in different skills like fish and poultry farming, as well as soap making, among others. The orphanage and school is also expected to serve as a football academy where young minds will be groomed to pursue their interest in sports. Eric Dings, NTA News.
That's it from Jos. It's back to Ronke.
Thank you, Ruth. And now sports. National School Sports Festival enters day 5 on Thursday in Otukpo as Super Eagles players vow to win Congo to qualify for AFCON 2015. Details with correspondent Amazi Marcos.
School children from some of the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT are competing in the National School Sports Festival in Otukpo, Benue State. Athletics, taekwondo, volleyball, football, basketball, table tennis, weightlifting and wrestling are some of the sporting events being competed in. Senate President David Mark declared the 10-day competition open.
This sporting activity, this school sports festival, is a uniting factor in this country, and we must encourage it.
Super Eagles players and technical crew are optimistic that the tempo and fitness in the camp will give them good results against Congo in the AFCON qualifier on Saturday. The team, which began training in Abuja on Tuesday ahead of the must-win match, told newsmen that they will go for the maximum points in Congo.
There's total commitment and concentration, which is the intensity of the training yesterday was high. So if we can keep that level going today, tomorrow, up to Saturday, I think we'll come out good.
The spirit is high, and then we know how important these two games are to us, and we'll do everything to win the two games.
The Nigeria Football Federation Electoral Appeals Committee on Wednesday resumed hearing of petitions from aggrieved stakeholders that participated in the September 30 NFF Elective Congress in Warri, Delta State. Suleiman Muazu petitioned that both the NFF President and First Vice President are from the southern part of Nigeria, a position defended by NFF First Vice President Sheyi Akiwumi, who expressed surprise that no objection was raised on the matter until after the election. The hearing continues on Thursday. Meanwhile, Red Team emerged champions of the Maiden Sports Fiesta of the Redeemed Evangelical Mission Utako Abuja after defeating opponents in various events including football, table tennis, basketball, badminton, volleyball, chess, and IO.
And we've made it a competition so that we compete amongst ourselves and probably just look for talents and then build up from there.
Over 400 members participated in the Sports Fiesta. With Sports News Update, Amanzi Marcus, NTA News.
Time for a quick check on weather prospects across the country. It is your right to challenge anybody suspected to be involved in unwholesome activities around you. Be security conscious. This message is from the Directorate of State Security. We'd like to thank you for watching Nationwide. Remember to join us at 7 and the network news at 9 for more reports on our network service.
Watching NTA, Nigerian Television Authority. For more information and news updates, visit our website at www.nta.ng, or you can follow us on Twitter at